Alright, I got a few interesting charts that I really like for tomorrow, but first let's really quick glance at the SPY. It bounced off of a bottom trend line today. As it was selling off, I was telling the chat room that I do think the market's going to bounce today, even when it looked like the end of the world. And it's because it was hitting the bottom of this channel, and if I pan out, this channel goes pretty far back. So it's a pretty steady indicator there, if you will. And it did a really nice bounce, and plus if you saw my IWM chart yesterday, I talked about how nicely the IWM over the whole past year has really done right off this blue line here, right off this area, and it did it again today. So when the SPY was ripping through that lower trend line, IWM was also ripping through this, but you got a big reversal, as you can see right there. That was kind of a little flush, and then just ripped the rest of the day. Okay, so for tomorrow, what am I watching? Remember, I find stocks that I think could give me a trade tomorrow, and I go to cash at night. So that's what I do. GTLS is getting down to where it's probably getting overdone. So I just put that on my radar. I don't have a price for you that, oh, if it gets to this price, I'm going to go long. I'm going to just have to watch it trade and then see if it gives a setup. CYBR, not a lot of chart to go on here, but big day a few days ago, and now two days down, so that just goes on bounce watch. Same kind of deal with RWLK, 2 days down, it goes back on bounce watch. DGLY, have this on watch every night. I actually am really starting to like this one now for a possible long again. It looks like a really good bounce play setup. 15-minute candles here. I'll tell you what, I like it. If it gets up over 1480, then it could push through today's high, which is Thursday's high, and there's just not a lot in the way. I think this one, remember, it's very low float and a very high short percentage, so I always have this one on watch. If this gets over 1480 with any volume, tomorrow I'll probably take a long. Now, there's always caveats to that, like, if it opens, go back to the daily, if it opens, if it gaps down to 12, then you understand 1480 means nothing. So this kind of assumes a relatively flat open when I give you prices like this. Another one I'm watching, VSLR. Now there's not a lot of chart here. Brand new IPO solar. It opened, ripped, and then closed at its lows again. There's no chart to go on here, so it's just going to go on bounce watch. I don't have any kind of price to give you, but I'm going to watch it trade, and it could give a nice reversal one of these days. One of my favorite charts right now of the day for tomorrow would be FUEL. Just decimated, and if I zoom in, you got the gap down here. You had a spike a few weeks ago. I guess it's been almost a month now, that went up to 1860. Then you had a lower high here that went up to 1650 again, and today it briefly took that out. It went to 1660, but I really like this pattern. There's not a lot in the way if you get up over this past 4-session high, so I'm going to look to go long over maybe 1662, again assuming a fairly flat open. That's a nice looking chart that it's beaten up enough and could make a really nice run. DSKY, had this one on watch. I said I would like to bounce off 16, and it did that today and ended up going to 17. I'm looking for just a follow through, all right, especially if the market doesn't roll over again. I'm looking for just a continuation of this bounce. DSKY. NQ, like this one a lot. I've got a line drawn, and this one's got a lot of shorts. It says over 50% on FinViz. I got a line drawn at recent highs here, and you had a 2-day pullback. I made a call on it today. It didn't go up much from my call, but this one, it looks like maybe the pullback after hitting recent highs is done, and it could just rip through recent highs now, which would be over 720, but the first entry would be over 7 over today's high. So keep NQ on watch. That one could squeeze one of these days. And you want to have TKMR on watch every day just because of the Ebola story. And RADA, again, declining volume and coming back in, but a really huge pop here and a nice secondary pop, and it's back down kind of back to support. So I want to watch RADA. I'd like to see some volume come in and maybe get it over 3 with some volume. This one could give a nice pop. So that's my watch list. I don't think I'm leaving anything off. I think that's the ones, that's the ones I'm going to be watching. We'll find other stuff to trade as the day unfolds as well. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.